There's an amazing story coming out of Dallas, Texas. When you look at the homeless laws that they have there, there was an ordinance on the books which mandated that anybody who feed the hungry be registered with the city. And they say you get a $2,000 fine if you don't register. Also, if you want to feed the hungry, if you want to help out the homeless, it's mandatory that you provide bathrooms and running water. So what are they trying to do here? Well, what this did in effect was ban all of the trucks and the individual do-gooders who would come into the area and feed the homeless and look out for people. So they outlawed helping the homeless in a roundabout way by masking it with this veil of respectability, by saying, no, we're not banning helping the homeless. We're just saying that if you do help the homeless, you have to have running water, you have to have a bathroom, and you have to have a permit. And by the way, we're not going to give you the permit. And if we catch you helping the homeless, you owe us $2,000. So it's a very sneaky, disgusting way to ban feeding the homeless without explicitly saying we are going to ban feeding the homeless. Well, now there's been a court case over this because people realized what was going on here. They realized this was a ruse, and they realized that just, trucks, food trucks can no longer help people, individuals can no longer help people, and that's messed up. So they took it to the court system, and get this, the city has now spent $250,000 and 8 years in court to continue the fight. $250,000 and 8 years in court to continue to fight people who only want to feed the homeless. Well, I have a message for those rotten sons of bitches. If you took that $250,000 and bought food and then you gave it to the homeless, you wouldn't need to make these laws in the first place. If you took that money and gave it to the homeless in any way, whether it's to give them shelter or whether it's to give them food or just to help them out in a general way, if you did that, you wouldn't need to have all these trucks, all these do-gooders come in and do the right thing, because you would have done the right thing at the government level. But no, instead of doing that, you take $250,000 and you blow it on a court process so you can put your middle finger up not only to the homeless people, but to the people trying to help the homeless people who have a heart. See, this is the problem in the United States of America. Oftentimes, we talk about systemic issues. We talk about money in politics and corruption and things that we need to do to fix the system to make it better internally. How you tweak the rules, how you change the government. But this right here is not just an issue of that. Because this issue right here is more about the character of the people involved in the city who were responsible in the first place for this old ordinance and who decided to enforce it all these years. And what this shows is there are plenty of people who need to be enlightened. There are plenty of people who need to have a stern talking to. There are plenty of people where you need to describe to them, hey, what if this was your mother? What if this was your daughter? What if this was you? I mean, there's 1,000,001 reasons why people end up homeless. Most of those reasons are the system failed them, and there was a series of terrible events that happened in their lives, and they couldn't find the will to go on. A series of bad breaks, nobody lending a helping hand, and then they end up in a situation like that. And if your response is to say, I don't care, you shouldn't even be fed if a good Samaritan is willing to feed you, well, then you need to look in the mirror, because the problem with society is not the homeless person, and it's not the do-gooder who's feeding them. The problem is you. The problem is you have no empathy, you have no sympathy, you have no heart, but more importantly, you have no rationality. Because they'll try to paint this as if we're being liberal do-gooders, bleeding heart liberals, we're all mushy and emotional, and we're sentimentalists, and that's the problem, is that we're not steely-eyed realists. What part of denying a homeless person food is realism? What part of saying, hey, even if you want to give the homeless person food, you can't, is realism? In my eyes, that's just being an asshole.